one of the most valuable things for your health, for your brain, for your metabolism, for your gut health, everything is sleep. You can't reproduce sleep. You can't take something and have it make up for lost sleep. I know that if I get good sleep, I feel like a completely different person. Hey there, welcome to the Female Health Solution podcast, where we discuss women's health, hormones, and everything else in between. Join me as we dive into the tools that you need to live your healthiest life. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Female Health Solution podcast. I am your host, Dr. Beth Westy. We're going to talk about sleep, and I'm going to get into some sleep stuff and talk about my personal journey with sleep, which I don't talk about a lot because I'll just be honest. I feel silly. Like I feel like when I have trouble sleeping or there's something wrong with my sleep, that I should be able to figure it out. I shouldn't have, I did something wrong. There's something blah, 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 blah. But when I really write things down and prepping for this podcast and going through this journey, I've been really talking about this more. I have had insomnia on and off my entire life. There's definitely things that have occurred differently with my sleep pattern schedule enhancement that, correlate with my cycle. I sometimes sleep really, really great and sometimes do not. And it honestly depends on my hormones, the moon. I know, right? This was one of those things where I was like, that's crap. I don't have that. I totally have that. I don't want to have it. I do. And there's been different points in my life where, working through traumas, things like that, that it really disrupted my sleep. I have had night terrors, things like that. This is not when I was younger, right? I've had normal nightmares when I was growing up. I had some traumatic things occur, growing up in an abusive alcoholic home, that I had some nightmares and stuff, but I want to say it was more normal, right? And I would always find ways to get to sleep. I'll just be honest, there's sometimes I dabbled in self-medicating with herbs in college. This was before I knew anything about herbs. It's the only herb around in college, if you catch my drift. That helped me sleep. When I could not sleep. That helped me sleep, right? This is before they had CBD gummies and stuff. They didn't have any of that. But there would be times where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I just couldn't sleep, and I didn't understand why. And I couldn't understand how to get regular sleep. I had a really hard time with it when I had night terrors. I had night terrors for about a year and a half. And I talked about this a little bit more in my personal story, a few episodes back. And struggling through that and going through some different therapy, QNRT, as well as other things. And that was helpful. And then more recently, because as I'm recording this in May, and it was last end of September, October, I did an Ayurvedic journey to really work through a lot of the traumas and things that I have lived through, to really get a deeper layer of healing on it. I was having a hard time reconciling with stuff. I'm a very logical thinker. So, it is what it is, right? I know some people have feelings on doing that type of shamanistic journey, but I've studied a lot of different realms of healing and shamanism and things like that. And I was like, I need to experience this and to see if this is going to be helpful for me and my own personal journey that I'm trying to work through with everything. Because there's, thinking about things logically and trying to get around it mentally, you still get stuck. And sometimes you wonder, am I doing the right thing? Am I making a mistake? Am I, ruining things for the future? How is this going to turn out for me? Right? What do you mean you can't sleep? With all these dark thoughts. So since then, which was an amazing experience to go on that type of healing journey and work through a lot of that stuff. It was a very guided experience, and it was wonderful. But since then, my sleep had been very erratic. And when I say erratic, and I've gone through this before in my life where I would have insomnia for a phase, a time, right? I would have trouble sleeping for a couple of weeks, meaning every night I would get 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, and I'd still be able to function. I mean, I had 3 kids. They're all 2 years apart, right? So for a solid 6 or 7 years, I did not sleep regularly. I can manage, I can whatever. But when I was going on, 5, 6 weeks in a row without sleeping, it was starting to wear on me. Or just being frustrated that it was a really long phase of insomnia that I couldn't sleep and I couldn't figure out why. There wasn't, I tried to change things, try to change my routine, and I just couldn't get regular sleep. I'd get a great night of sleep for 2 or 3 nights, and then I'd sleep like crap, right? And so this is all very recent. This is very, very recent. From October up until April. So a solid 6 months where I was in it. That was honestly, looking back, like one of the longest ruts of insomnia that I have had, where I never had more than 5 consecutive days of good sleep. And I have done all of the things that I normally would do, we're not doing it. And I have taken melatonin and other sleep supplements and other sleep things. So I actually took one of the formulas, and I modified it. I combined 2 different things, and I actually created my own sleep tincture, a sleep support that is really, really helpful. And it is my favorite blend that I'll be honest. I was trying to make my own little apothecary at home, and I was like, these are going to be the magic things, the magic combination that's going to help me sleep. And it does. It does. There were 2 things that were different. So this is like hops, lemon balm, passionflower, valerian, kava. Oh, I love kava. Skullcap, California poppy, and chamomile. A beautiful blend. There is no melatonin in this, right? It is not addictive at all. I am not worried about it disrupting my hormones. I do 2 squeezes of the dropper bottle under my tongue as I head up to bed. I do my nighttime routine and I conk out and I sleep through the night. I started using this, and after the first few days, I realized that I wasn't waking up even at all anymore in the middle of the night. I was waking up previously 2-3 times a night. Now, it's not unusual to like wake up once and go to the bathroom or whatever. Fine. I stopped doing that. I sleep through the night now completely. And that's what I formulated it for. Because I was having trouble and I wasn't finding what I wanted out there. So I made it. I never set out to be like an herbalist or anything and like create formulas, but this is newly out, newly released, all those things, but this is really valuable. So there's that. So my nighttime routine now, just so you know, I make sure that I do not use screens, 30 minutes to an hour before bed. No screens, none of that. If I use a screen, I might use my phone to put on some music, some soft music, something like that. As I'm in my room, I use red light, my red light, love it. And I use it very ambient. There are sometimes, especially if I eat dinner, if I eat too fast, that's usually what it is. I'll use red light on my belly, and then I'll put the wrap on my belly, and then I'll just use it ambient in the room to help calm my midbrain down and wind down everything else. So I use that. I have my weighted blanket, which I absolutely love. That is really, really helpful. The other thing that is also a newer introduction for me is these earplugs. These are loop earplugs. Thank you, TikTok, right? They are little silicone things. They look like little earbuds, and they just have a circle in them. And you pop them in. I pop them in, and it completely blocks the sound. Now, some people can't stand to have something in their ears, right? Some people don't like that at all. That's it. These are the ones I use. Got them from my bedside. So I take my tincture, I go upstairs, I do my red light, I do my nighttime skincare routine, which is like, I wash my face and put like a nighttime cream on it. I don't do anything fancy. I'll do some gua sha or some jade rolling on my face, some dry brushing. I do like to dry brush at night sometimes. And then I lay in my bed, got my red light next to my bed. I pop in my earplugs and I conk out. Now, the earplugs, I will say, are very helpful for blocking out ambient sound because my husband, God love him, is like a Viking mixed with a bear of a human. And he flip-flops and talks in his sleep and is rowdy and all this stuff. And I just cannot. And then we also have the two dogs, Gary and Murray, and they both sleep in our room. Murray sleeps under our bed. And if he rolls or moves or whatever, because we have a king bed and my husband built the bed frame, so there's posts in the middle of it. So if he flops around in the middle of the night and he bonks one of the wooden posts, I can feel the vibration and hear it, and it will be disruptive. And then there's Gary, who likes to wander around in the middle of the night. And especially if my husband's talking or something, he'll go over and like sniff and lick his elbow or something. And then he'll come around to my side of the bed and see what I'm doing. Trying to sleep, Gare. Trying to sleep, right? But the walking, the noise, the whatever, and I think it's like the mom ears at night that have kept me alert to everything. So that's where the earplugs have come into play. So I have tested it where I have done my whole routine and not the sleep tincture. And this does help me from, it definitely muffles sound. So smaller sounds won't disturb me. But if I do wake up, I have a harder time falling asleep. It doesn't block everything, right? But it does muffle a lot. But if I do wake up to go to the bathroom, I'm still a little more alerted, that type of a thing. I have done the sleep tincture without the earplugs. And there was only one night that I did it, that I slept through the night, because the other time there was a coyote or a raccoon or something outside. Murray barked. It was very loud. Woke me up. It probably would have woken me up if I wore the earplugs too, but it would just have muffled. It wouldn't have been so jarring and alerting to me in the middle of the night. But again, I've got 3 kids. They're all teenagers now. They do not go to bed as early as I do, right? I am in bed at 9 p.m., 9:15, 95% of the time. I love it. The kids make fun of us. I mean, Hallie goes to bed actually earlier than I do. He's in bed at like 8:30. But it's life-changing when you get sleep. It is life-changing. And the thing that just drives me absolutely bonkers, though, I will just say this. My husband will lay down and go to sleep. I can get in bed. The dogs will move around, all this stuff. He will not wake up. It does not bother him. Whatever. It's me, right? And I don't think he's ever had sleep issues or struggled with insomnia or whatever, but I have had these patterns throughout my life. There are definitely patterns throughout my cycle. And then I'm creeping towards my mid-40s now, everyone. I'm going to be 44 in about 6 months. So that's great. So these hormonal shifts and changes that can happen can impact your sleep. But one of the most valuable things for your health, for your brain, for your metabolism, for your gut health, everything is sleep. You can't reproduce sleep. You can't take something and have it make up for lost sleep. Sleep is one of the number one things that you can do for your health, especially if you are stressed, especially if you have other issues. And for me, having an autoimmune, right? I know that if I get good sleep, I feel like a completely different person. My body feels different. I get way fewer autoimmune flare-ups. They're less frequent and they're way less intense. That's been my experience so far. Yeah. So sleep is really where it's at. So those are my sleep tips. That is my big sleep, thing is, again, sleep routine, be regular with your timing as much as possible. If you travel, the more you can take things with you, like red light stuff, to use the same music or something at night and have the same routine, even if you're in a little different time zone or something, you're still triggering your system to say, this is what we're doing and it's time to go to bed. And then whatever that is, again, for me, that the red light, weighted blanket, earplugs, and then again, this sleep tincture, again, there's no melatonin in it, nothing like that. It has been a lifesaver for my sleep. And it is the thing that broke me out of my insomnia cycle that lasted 6 months. That was the longest one I've ever had in my life. So I am really, really glad. But I am hoping you guys have amazing sleep with this too. Again, sleep is so valuable. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have other earplugs that you like. Again, these are just called Loop. I got them on Amazon. You can get them, a lot of places. There's some people use wax, earplugs or something like that. Fine. Whatever's comfortable for you to sleep in. I didn't want wax. I didn't want my hair to get in it. That seemed weird. So these ones are great. I wash them, reuse them. Easy peasy, lemon sneezy, you guys. And again, it has been a game changer for me to sleep regularly, have deep sleep, quality sleep, and not worry if I'm going to get good sleep. I know I am. My 2 new tools, game changer. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll put links in the show notes here for you to check out our new sleep support tincture. And yeah, enjoy your sleep. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. If you would like more information, just head on over to drbethwesty.com for all the show notes and information from today's episode. And if you're looking for more community, more support, you can find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and I would love to see you there.